We don't live in a world where scientists can understand everything, and we're glad it stays that way. Let's be honest, what a dull world that would be. It's part of our human instinct to be drawn to the unknown, and ancient mysteries are just as gripping as anything modern. Luckily, we're not lacking in ancient enigmas. I mean, you can find them everywhere, and some of the most baffling and brain-bending ones are right here in this video. No one can explain or understand them. Number Quindishi, a terracotta army in miniature. Most people have heard of the terracotta army in China, but in December 2021, researchers discovered its miniature counterpart. That month, archaeologists uncovered hundreds of tiny clay statues in a burial pit near Lindsay. The figures included not just warriors but musicians, cavalry units, and watchtowers. Based on what's been found so far, these sculptures are around 2,100 years old, about a century younger than the famous terracotta army. Chinese historians believe the pit was created to honor Liu Hong, a former prince of Qi and son of Emperor Wu. Historical accounts confirm Hong lived and died in this part of China and passed away while still young, a death that would have warranted an elaborate burial. The theory holds weight, but until the prince's actual tomb is located, there's no way to prove it outright. So far, the site has yielded impressive finds, but it's far from fully excavated. There's a good chance even more relics tied to the young prince are still buried underground. But why so tiny guys to protect him? Number 14. The rotating statue of Nebezhnu. Most Egyptologists dismiss superstition, but even the most grounded historians admit the rotating statue at Manchester Museum is odd. The small Middle Kingdom figurine has been recorded turning in its locked glass case, captured on video at least 3 times. No one else has a key to the case. The artifact was donated to the museum in 1933 by Miss Annie Barlow of Bolton. Initially dismissed as a forgery, it's now confirmed to be genuine. The statue bears a dedication to Osiris and an offering to the case spirit of a man named Nebezhnu. He wasn't royalty. He's not in any known records. Theories have been floated: nearby vibrations, magnetic pull, temperature shifts, but none convincingly explain why this specific object moves, while others in the same room remain still. Some say the material, steatite, might respond differently to external forces. But for now, the strange movements continue to unsettle observers, leaving behind a simple, chilling truth: something inside that case isn't resting as quietly as it should. Number 13. The cave paintings of Las Geel. The Las Geel rock shelters in Somalia might be the world's oldest open-air art museum. The walls and ceilings of these caves are covered in vivid paintings created by Neolithic people over 5,000 years ago. These early inhabitants eventually moved on, but the environment inside the caves protected their work for millennia. When archaeologists finally documented them in the early 2000s, they initially mistook the images for recent graffiti. The colors were too rich, the lines too crisp. What they found instead was the best preserved prehistoric artwork on the African continent. A French research team made the discovery in 2002, but locals had known about the site for generations. Many in the region even believed the caves were cursed and warned against entering them, saying the artwork was drawn in blood by spirits. Folklore aside, no one actually knows who created these pieces or what they meant. All we have are the weird images. Number 12. The broken seal of the killing stone. Japanese folklore warns of the Seisho Seki, or killing stone, a volcanic boulder said to trap a cursed spirit. In 2022, the stone split in two. Locals in Nasu, where the stone resides, were rattled. For centuries, the legend claimed that the stone imprisoned the soul of Tamamo no Mei, a beautiful woman who attempted to assassinate Emperor Toba in the 1100s. Her beauty, according to the tale, was a disguise. She was actually a malevolent fox demon with 9 tails. The stone had been declared a protected cultural landmark since 1957. Though initial fears blamed vandalism, closer inspection suggested something less dramatic. Cracks had appeared years earlier, and rainwater likely weakened the interior until it fractured naturally. Still, the symbolism hit hard, especially in a year already filled with global tension. Whether one believes in spirits or not, the sudden break of a centuries-old cursed object carries weight. No one knows exactly how long the stone had been whole, or how long it will stay broken. Number 11. The strange function of Carrowmore. Of all Ireland's prehistoric sites, few are as peculiar or misunderstood as Carrowmore. Archaeologists originally approached it, assuming it was a standard barrow, but midway through the excavation, they realized it didn't match any known burial pattern in the country. Parts of it resemble a barrow, but the inconsistencies pile up fast. For one, it appears the site wasn't solely for burial. Some tombs at Carrowmore are over 5,000 years old, yet a large central mound oddly shaped like a stage suggests performance or ritual. Surrounding the mound is a trench, almost like a designated viewing area. Did ancient people hold ceremonies or enact plays before the dead, or was the purpose more ceremonial than theatrical? Adding to the mystery are the heavy traces of charcoal scattered throughout the area, hinting at repeated fires or offerings. Carrowmore doesn't fit the mold of any known prehistoric site. It raises questions about ritual, memory, and community, but answers, if they exist, are still buried in the soil. Number 10. The eerie history behind Dún Óangasa. Crossing the Irish Sea from Berwick to Galway, Ireland, brings us to the ancient site of Dún Óangasa, one of Ireland's most spellbinding Iron Age fortresses. Those who visit often say the place gives off a powerful, almost spiritual feeling. John O'Donovan, who was a 19th century historian, became so overwhelmed after arriving that he hurled his umbrella and threw himself to the ground, screaming with joy. Archaeologists haven't been able to pinpoint when it was built, but estimates place its origins around 1100 BCE. From that point on, it was likely expanded over generations. A nearby Neolithic tomb exists, though experts believe it's unrelated to the fort. Dún Óangasa has been carefully preserved, kept in its raw state, meaning no modern barriers or guardrails were ever installed. Visitors are warned to watch their step, as it's dangerously easy to walk right off the cliff edge the fort is built. That stark vulnerability only adds to the mystique of a site that was never meant to feel safe. Life is basically too short for this. Number 9. The Congregation of Wits. The concept of a talking statue might sound absurd unless you've spent time in Rome. There, 6 ancient statues earned the nickname the Congregation of Wits during the 16th century when they became platforms for public dissent. Citizens would post handwritten notes mocking politicians, satirizing the church, or voicing protest, all while remaining anonymous. These statues didn't speak in the literal sense, but the words pinned to them echoed through the city. It became a silent but powerful form of communication, a Renaissance-era version of political memes. Popes of the time were furious. They tried relocating the statues or placing guards near them, hoping to shut down the criticism. But no matter what they did, people kept returning with fresh messages. The most famous of these is Il Babuino, a statue that was supposed to represent Silenus, the half-goat figure of Roman mythology. But locals found him so hideous, they named him after a baboon. That nickname stuck, and so did the tradition of using stone to speak truth. Number 8. The puzzling story of Pontchartrath. This UNESCO World Heritage location still puzzles both historians and archaeologists. And I mean for all great reasons. Located along India's Bay of Bengal coastline, Pontchartrath is a stunning complex that exemplifies ancient Indian monolithic rock-cut architecture at its peak. Early theories credited the work to King Narasimhavarman I, a Pallava ruler from 630 to 668 CE. However, newer analysis suggests it was more likely completed under Narasimhavarman II, who reigned from 690 to 725 CE. The 5 structures carved into a single granite outcrop are shaped like chariots, each uniquely styled. Though once believed to be temples, their unfinished state indicates they were never consecrated. Why such an elaborate project was halted remains a mystery. The name Pontchartrath refers to the 5 Pandava brothers from the Mahabharata, though the actual connection is unclear. What's even stranger is that these towering structures appear unused, abandoned mid-creation, without any sign of damage, conflict, or collapse. Number 7. Rock carvings across Northumberland. Prehistoric people in Northumberland, England, clearly understood the power of symbols carved in stone. The region is home to over 1,200 examples of rock art, many dating back more than 6,000 years, making them older than the Great Pyramid of Giza. In 2014, the UK government officially granted protected status to these ancient carvings. Unlike many archaeological sites confined to a single location, Northumberland's engravings are spread across the entire landscape. Some are basic circular hollows, while others include concentric rings, spirals, or interwoven geometric patterns. No one's entirely sure what they meant. They might have marked tribal boundaries or held religious significance, or something else altogether. It's likely that dozens more carvings remain buried or hidden, waiting to be found. But even with the ones we do know, no single explanation fits all. These stone designs are fragments of a language we've never learned to read. Thousands of years later, they still sit silently in the hills, giving no clues. Number 6. A mummy wrapped in a language we can sit read. The Zagreb mummy is famous not for who it once was, but for what it was wrapped in. It was purchased by a Croatian businessman in the mid-19th century and donated to the State Museum of Croatia in 1877, and then the mummy sat on display for decades before scholars noticed the strange writing on its linen wrappings. That cloth is now known worldwide as the Liber Lentius, the longest surviving text in the ancient Etruscan language. Etruscan is only partially understood today, making the Liber Lentius a linguistic treasure. But why was an Egyptian mummy wrapped in Etruscan scripture? No one knows. Some suggest the fabric was repurposed, a practical solution when traditional materials weren't available. Others believe it may have been a trade item or a result of cultural crossover. Whatever the case, the mummy's identity remains unknown, and the full meaning of the text has yet to be decoded, which I think never will. Number 5. The Medici Chapel's Cest Inhuman Statues. Let's talk about something truly odd, some unsettling statues tucked inside the Medici chapels in Florence, Italy. These sculptures show human torsos in classical armor, but what's inside them isn't remotely human. The most infamous example shows the head of a worm-like or serpentine creature bursting from the armor's neckline. Other pieces reveal limbs that resemble tentacles, some lined with scales or suction cups, where arms and legs should be. Many of the figures are decorated with heraldic symbols, some paired with helmets. Wild theories suggest the Romans may have tried building exosuits for animals, but there's no evidence supporting that. Technically, it's possible, but there's no reason for it. The more reasonable belief is that the sculptures hold symbolic meaning now lost to history. The odd part? The Romans recorded everything in painful detail, so why no mention of these? Whatever the answer, these figures sit in the middle of a carefully curated gallery, daring historians to decode a message no one left behind. Number 4. A time capsule hidden in a Highland bridge. In 2015, workers tearing down a bridge in Kingassy, a small town in the Scottish Highlands, stumbled across something buried inside its stonework, a shoebox-sized time capsule. The box had been deliberately sealed and left behind 126 years earlier. Inside, they found a rolled parchment, a copy of a local newspaper dated September 1894, and an unopened bottle of Scottish whiskey. While the whiskey could theoretically still be drinkable, nobody's been bold enough to try it. The capsule likely dates to the construction of an earlier bridge that preceded the one now being demolished. In the 1890s, the area would have seen horse-drawn traffic rather than cars. It wasn't a grand gesture, just a snapshot of the lives of the working-class laborers who built it. Their choice to preserve a newspaper, a scroll, and a bottle says more than it seems that they wanted to be remembered, and while the bridge is gone, their message is left. Number 3. Storms expose a lost boat in Northern Ireland. During intense storms in early March 2022, the shifting sands of Portrush Beach in Northern Ireland revealed a forgotten piece of maritime history. Locals had walked the beach for decades without ever knowing that a fully intact 200-year-old fishing boat lay just beneath their feet. The vessel appeared after high winds swept away several feet of sand. Gordy Wilton, walking his dog, noticed an unfamiliar shape in the surf, a wooden outline that hadn't been there the day before. Wilton, a regular at the beach, had passed that exact spot countless times. Archaeologists were called in and quickly confirmed the remains were that of a 19th century dromthi, a style of fishing vessel commonly used by local Irish fishermen at the time. It was likely built nearby and preserved by the damp coastal conditions. Now that it's exposed to air, the boat risks rapid decay. Conservationists are moving quickly to stabilize the wreck before the elements can claim it a second time, this time permanently. What do you think about it? Number 2. Egypt's forgotten fortress and its sealed wells. Archaeologists in Egypt recently revealed the discovery of 5 ancient water wells in the Tel el-Kedwa region of North Sinai. Estimated to be over 3,300 years old, these wells once served travelers and military convoys along the Horus Road, a major strategic route connecting ancient Egypt to Canaan. Nearby stood a fortress, likely used to control access through the eastern frontier. Interestingly, 4 of the 5 wells had been filled in with sand. Experts believe this may have been a military tactic done to prevent Persian forces from using them during their invasion in 525 BCE. The 5th well was shallower and left untouched, likely abandoned after the conflict. Despite repelling the Persians, the Egyptians never returned to restore the wells or the fortress. The structures were left to decay quietly in the desert. Now uncovered, they tell the story of not just trade and defense, but of strategies carved into the land itself. If science is right. Number 1. Figurines from the Burnt City. Shari-Sukte, better known as the Burnt City, is one of Iran's oldest known settlements. It's also the largest and easily the most enigmatic. This once thriving city, now a UNESCO World Heritage Site, was abruptly abandoned roughly 4,400 years ago, with little explanation and even fewer clues. In December 2021, archaeologists uncovered a group of figurines from the site, mostly depicting cows. But the human figures sparked more curiosity. Every male figure is shown standing, every female is seated. That could mean women were considered subordinate, or possibly the opposite, that women sat on thrones and men stood as attendants. The truth? We just don't know. Only about 4% of the city has been fully excavated, and researchers admit that the rest could hold vital answers. Until more is uncovered, these odd little figurines remain one of the Burnt City's quietest riddles, small in size but massive in implication, offering a glimpse into a culture that vanished without explaining itself. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for hanging with us. We'll see you soon in the next one.